16 next weekend. Check of both goals for the referee, who sets his watch. And we are underway. The ball rolling here at Paul McGinley Field. And Trinity applying the early midfield pressure as Alex Walsh regains possession. And Beal turns, dropping it back to Reese Wallace. Hendricks tries to hoist it wide. Rabinowitz is well placed. And Veneziano wide for Correa, who caused Trinity some problems today. She's a very crafty player coming out of the left back and into midfield. And got the assist on the goal to defeat Pacific Lutheran yesterday. Quick turnaround for both teams. We'll see if fatigue becomes a big factor as the game wears on, or if adrenaline will carry both teams through the 90 minutes or more if we can't split them when regulation concludes. Dutz with a volley upfield. Poncio putting the Trinity back line under pressure. It's down the line looking for Walsh, who won't keep it in play. And Correa gets play going once again with a throw. Katie Ward able to win it back for Trinity. Tapp reads the play in midfield and comes away with the ball now. Charlotte Tapp looking to spread it wide. Has Rabinowitz. Overlap coming from Spencer Dutz. Here is the right back now. Coming inside. Lays it back to Veneziano, who sees her ball forward blocked by the opposite number 12, Alex Walsh. Stafford tripped up. Referee sees nothing wrong with it. Trinity hoist it forward for Sheridan. Got the assist on her strike partner's goal yesterday. Takes her into double digits now in both categories. Both she and Katie Ward have been effective goal scoring, of course, but also setting each other up. As Ward's on the charge here down the right. Well defended by Caitlin Pham, who was impressive coming off the bench yesterday once Hannah Kim was withdrawn in the first half. She's got a lot to worry about here as it's fired in for Molly Sheridan, who's all alone. And a huge save from Maurice keeps this one scoreless. How was Molly Sheridan so open in the penalty area? And how did she not score? We'll have a look in just a moment. As the ball back rolling here from the throw. Strong start for the Trinity front two. They could have made it count though. With both games yesterday decided by one goal, you get a feeling whoever scores first might just have the advantage going the whole 90 minutes. Good ball from Mandel. Sprays it wide now for Rabinowitz. Two Trinity defenders converge on the ball, and Zingelman gets the last touch. And now we'll look at the chance for Sheridan. Found herself all alone off the cross from Katie Ward. The save off the left foot of Naomi Maurice, junior goalie out of Iowa City. Splitting time this year with Taylor Kane. Both goalkeepers proving very capable. We saw Kane make a big save in yesterday's game. Sheridan fighting here with Dutz. Last touch goes off the Sage-Hens. Kira Stafford in for Walsh. Settles it with the second touch. Laying it back now for Cameron Beal. Across for Hendricks. Now here's Katie Ward looking to turn. Right from the area she scored yesterday. The Sage-Hens alert to the danger that time. And they force Trinity all the way back here. Bailey Meyer down the left for Stafford. Stafford trying to cut past Rabinowitz, but Dutz was able to make the intervention. More good hold-up play from Mendel. As the play now spread wide for Sienna Correa. Wallace, good clearance down the line as that one stays in play. Correa retrieves it. Exchanges a few passes here with Eliana Prosnitz. Gray into midfield. Prosnitz can't control it. And the ball picked up now by Beal. Walsh fires it forward into the feet of Katie Ward. Heavy first touch there. Uncharacteristically so for the senior out of Phoenix, Arizona. Ward here puts the pressure on, high up the field. It's back with Genevieve Gray. Drop of the shoulder to get the space, and then she sends it down the line. And Zingelman on the front foot here. It's in for Molly Sheridan. Another heavy touch, that time for Katie Ward. And the chance is gone for the moment. Both teams probing through the opening 6 minutes. Best chance fell at the feet of Molly Sheridan. The energy really high, especially for a pair of teams that played less than 24 hours ago. Seasons are on the line here as Sheridan's looking to turn. Caitlin Pham able to make the clearance. Wallace given some time and space to look up. She can't pick out a teammate. As Veneziano sends it down the field, and the Seichen step up their line. Here's a look at the chance, maybe for Sheridan on the turn. Ball just not quite falling for Katie Ward just yet. Took till the second half yesterday. The chances have been there for the Trinity front two to do what they do best. Here's Ward once again. 2 to her left, and she'll fire this one across. Stafford makes the run. A depth clearance that time from Dutz. Down the line here once again with Stafford. This has been a good early battle. First-year defender for Pomona Pitzer. Trinity's sophomore outside midfielder. Fullbacks really play like midfielders for Coach Scanlon and the Seichens. They love to get involved in the attack. Staying at home here as the midfield looks to make headway. It's Walsh who dribbles clear with the ball, and plenty of green grass ahead of her. Correa backpedaling, and finally will step to the ball as it's down the line for Katie Ward. Cameron Beal looking to join in, making the run into the box as the cross is blocked out for a throw. Everett's haven't called her name much in the early goings. In contrast to yesterday when she had a really bright start. Couldn't keep that one in play. As Wallace settles it, lots of time. She finds the ball forward for Katie Ward. Pham pushes it back. Everybody back defending right now for Pomona Pitzer. As Meyer takes the space she's afforded, and Zingelman now puts it in. Another header one by Pham, the sophomore defender out of Temple City. As this one is off the foot of Stafford and on to the right boot of Katie Ward. Flag stayed down, and that was a real chance. High degree of difficulty, but we know Katie Ward has the flair for the spectacular. Don't know if it was meant to be a cross or a shot that just came off rather strangely for Stafford. Here's Walsh. Can't dribble past one, but Hendricks is there to support. Beal laid back to Wallace. Fires in the early ball. And Correa will clear the lines for the Seichens. All the way back to Lauren Bolish, who's seen all the postseason minutes in goal for Trinity. Now making her 6th start of the year. A little bit surprising that she was given that #1 shirt for the games that matter most, but she's made the most of it. A few big saves yesterday. And in the SCAC tournament as well. It's Joey Finley who saw the majority of the minutes throughout regular season action. The sophomore goalkeeper waits on the side as Coach Harrison opts for the senior, the experience. Of course, we see Pomona Pitzer rotating their goalkeepers every half between Taylor Kane and Naomi Maurice. Maurice, the biggest moment so far, her save against Sheridan, just 2 minutes into the action. Correa forward now on the overlap as the shot comes in, and it's stung the palms of Lauren Bolish. Then gathers it. That was Ponzio with the effort. Zingelman with her head up goes forward for Sheridan. Gray gets ahead to it for Pomona Pitzer. And Hendricks down the line. Again, it's Gray against Sheridan, a really physical matchup between center forward and center back. Zingelman, well-weighted ball forward, and Sheridan's got to head to it. Can't pick out a teammate. Beal helps it back now for Wallace. Wallace wasting no time in getting it forward onto the foot of Sheridan. The Trinity back line given a lot of time on the ball here in the early action. Forwards nearly combined for a goal. 2 minutes in. Since then, looks like they may need to recalibrate. Not able to find each other. Here's Katie Ward now on the turn. Past Correa, fires the right-footed shot. Now the follow-up from Alex Walsh. Comes off her foot. Rather spryly, spins out for a goal kick. And looks like an injury issue for Caitlin Pham, who herself was a replacement for the injured Hannah Kim yesterday. I mean, Summer Hassama is going to have to step up. As part of the Sage Hens back line. She'll play alongside Genevieve Gray. Goal kick fired along the ground. Walsh got a foot to it. Here's Ponzio, put under pressure again by Alex Walsh. Tap composed there under the pressure from Stafford. And a couple of nice moves from Spencer Dutz coming in field. Space for Charlotte Tapp ahead of her, and she made the wrong decision. And now Stafford's got possession with room to roam. Early cross fired in. Correa's got to deal with it as Katie Ward was lurking at the back post. Shouts from the Trinity bench for a high foot there against Charlotte Tapp, who was booked yesterday. Only yellow card shown in that round of 64 matchup. Wallace able to find the feet of Ward. Now around the corner for Everts, who won't get there in time. It runs out of play for a throw. Wallace well positioned to make the interception. Trinity can't keep it though. It's back now with Spencer Dutz. Goes direct, nobody there. As Mendel had dropped in trying to find the ball. Difference in shape between the two teams. Trinity with 3 at the back and 2 up front. Pomona Pitzer, a more traditional back 4, although the fullbacks do love to get involved in the attack. And that leaves just Mendel to lead the line by herself. Ward able to keep that in play on the far side, but Hassama is able to pick it up. And now Charlotte Tapp to spread it wide for Rabinowitz. Space ahead of her if she can get there. Pass just overhit. Zingelman gets it back from Stafford. Hoisted into the afternoon sky. Genevieve Gray wins that one from Sheridan. 4 shots, 1 on target for Trinity, 1 shot on target for Pomona Pitzer. Tigers had the best chance through Molly Sheridan. We still stay scoreless here in San Antonio, as the best 2 teams in the West do battle. Conference champions from the SCIAC in California and the SCAC here in the South. Correa tripped up as Everts is whistled for a foul. Trademark driving run inside from Sienna Correa, who is the SCIAC Defensive Player of the Year this season. And she's alongside Charlotte Tapp standing over this free kick. 5 targets to aim at on the edge of the Trinity penalty area. Polish need to be commanding here as Correa lines it up. She leaves it for Charlotte Tapp, who fires the low shot in. And Bolish comfortable to knock that one down and pick it up once Mandel shows interest. See the Trinity wall actually leaving a pretty big gap between them. Unallowed the shot through, but not threatening Lauren Bolish's goal. Sheridan calling for it at the back post as Stafford stood up by Dutz. Gray comes across to put it out for a throw. Coach Harrison appealing for a free kick. And Zingelman will take the throw. Leaves just 2 back from Trinity as Dutz gets a foot on it. The clearance down the line blocked. Sage Hin's throw. Stafford can't take it away from Dutz, who sends it down the line. Wallace will come pick it up. And Mandel leads the line here for Pomona Pitzer. Step up 10 or so yards. Rabinowitz puts the double team on Stafford. Gets back to her feet now. It'll be a Sage Hin's throw. In for Charlotte Tapp. Ahead looking for Mandel. Walsh goes back now for Bolish. Goes short for Meyer. And Zingelman down the line for Sheridan. Couldn't keep that one in play. Dutz down the line for Rabinowitz. Turns away from Stafford. Laid all the way back for Charlotte Tapp. Ball meant to switch the plays. Intercepted now by Katie Ward, who'll have a drive from distance. And she does the spectacular once again. The Sage Hens made to pay for their mistake as Katie Ward once again finds her range, this time from way further out. Putting it off the bar and in past Naomi Maurice, who got a fingertip on it, but it wasn't enough. Katie Ward continuing to level up as Trinity advance further and further into their season. The games matter more and more. And Katie Ward, who I consider an All-American elect at this point, continues to provide goals for her team. Scored a goal a game this season, and that continues now in her 19th start. 19 goals and 11 assists, 30 goal contributions for the back-to-back SCAC Offensive Player of the Year. And she's given Pomona Pitzer now a mountain to climb to get back into this one. Laid back to Prosnitz. Spreads the play wide for Rabinowitz. The Sachens regrouping in a team huddle as Trinity celebrated their goal. See if they can find a response. Energy from both benches right now. The visitors have a corner. Looks like it'll be Anna Ponzio across to take. Senior out of Evergreen, Colorado. Line this one up on the left foot. In-swinging service is being prepared as Trinity guard the back post. This one sent in. And Veneziano was there. And Bolish came off her line at just the right moment to claim. Set pieces will be interesting. Trinity defend corners in a very interesting way. We'll see if Coach Scanlon thinks she's found a way to break that down. And if Pomona Pitzer continue to get those opportunities from corners. This one fired in, skews off the foot of Genevieve Gray. And Maurice won't risk picking it up, instead rolling it into midfield for Charlotte Tapp. Asama forward for Mendel. Everett's left on the ground as Pomona Pitzer try to make it work down the left side, but they run out of room. Ponzio gets ahead to it from the throw. Now bouncing in midfield for Hendricks, who lays it back to Zingelman. Sent downfield. Walsh caught between two taller players. He's got a foot now on it. As it dropped to the turf. Her pass wide. Can't find the feet of Katie Ward. And Siona Correa now takes the throw. Mandel getting a lot of touches, dropping deep. Nothing really threatening Trinity's goal. 7 goals and 7 assists this season to lead the team. Katie Ward leading the team offensively for Trinity, now breaking into the box, fires it across for Sheridan. The flag goes up. Another mistake at the back, nearly punished by Ward and Sheridan. Sachens will have to put that one quickly in the rearview mirror and move forward looking for the equalizing goal. It does look like Sheridan had just strayed into an offside position. Good call from the linesman on the far side. Hendricks tripped up after she released it. Veneziano called for a foul. Veneziano described by Coach Scanlon as one of the players that's the heartbeat of the team. The reason they're here. Her goal yesterday, putting them into this round of 32 matchup. As Ward gets ahead to the free kick, nodding it wide, a goal. Coach Scanlon right now in conversation with the assistant coaches, Taylor Reifert and Issa Berardo. Issa Berardo was an All-American goalkeeper last season for the Sachens in 2019. When they made their run to the Final Four. They lost to William Smith, who lost in the final to Messiah, which is the team that knocked out Trinity in 2019. So both teams in this matchup today losing to eventual finalists in 2019. And the winner of this game with real potential to go all the way, representing the West region. Coach Scanlon appreciative of the chance to play against West Region teams. In the interview a couple of days ago, mentioned they usually get shipped off to play in the Midwest or somewhere else as a part of a 4-team pod. A chance to come down to San Antonio and enjoy competition against the best teams in Texas. It's been a joy for her team so far, but they find themselves trailing as Sheridan tries to measure one in behind for Katie Ward. It's blocked by Correa. Gray now wide for Rabinowitz. Deeper than she'd like to be. She gives it away to Kira Stafford. Prosnitz with the last touch as it runs out of play, and now first change for Trinity as Emily Hayes enters the game on the left for Kira Stafford. 25 minutes for Stafford in a real battle on the width up against Rabinowitz and Dutz. Coach Harrison turns to his bench for the first time. Good feet in midfield from Hendricks. Forward for Walsh, who can't connect with the recent entrant into the game. But Hayes showing the energy off the bench, blocks the clearance, and now the Sachins make a change. So Amanda Koo is in for Eliana Prosnitz. Koo will lead the line, and Mendel will drop into midfield. Possession back with Trinity straight from the throw. Sheridan tries to get around Gray, and she's able to do so around the outside. The low cross in. Turned goalward by Katie Ward, but the shot just lacking power. Lacking placement as it was rolled right to the keeper. Really small window for Sheridan to get that cross in and for Ward to get the shot away. Both were able to do so. But the score remains 1-0. First time we've really seen Sheridan get the better of Genevieve Gray. Trinity's junior forward from St. Louis has the real potential to wear down a center back over the course of the game. Might already be seeing that 26 minutes into the first half. 12 goals, 10 assists for Sheridan. First team all-conference in back-to-back seasons now. And she's been able to complement Katie Ward's silky style with her physical presence. And a front two that has profited again and again for Trinity, and they look to do it all alone here. Two players on the break for the Tigers. Can't connect that time, and Hayes puts the pressure on Dutz. Hayes loses out to Charlotte Tapp, who's back on it now in midfield. Beal comes across. Had a steam, and she's able to win it back. Walsh surrounded by 3 blue jerseys as she gives it away. It's now with Veneziano. Charlotte Tapp down on one knee right now. She's struggling, holding her right ankle. So we play on with Reese Wallace. Looks like Tapp's going to be the next one replaced. Clock now stopped as Tapp can't continue. The substitute, Evelyn Hassama. Going to join her sister on the field now, both coming off the bench in the first half. As injury replacements. Pomona Pitzer losing Caitlin Pham in the early action. The center back depth starting to wear thin for Coach Scanlon. And we'll take a quick break. 17:47 on the clock. Trinity leading 1-0 on the Tiger Network. So the injury replacement is Shai Reifert. Hasama still set to come into the game at the next opportunity. As the ball back rolling here with Ashlyn Zingelman forward for Alex Walsh. Able to turn past the newly introduced substitute. Finds space now inside the area for Sheridan. Sheridan drops it all the way back to Wallace. Trinity build now down the right. Everett's the low cross in. Reifert clears it away. Collision on the far side. Referee says play on as Correa launches it downfield. Here's Mandel now running at Cameron Beal. Her pass can't connect with Amanda Koo. Possession back with Trinity. Correa pokes that one away from Walsh. Trinity throw, and Hasama continues to wait. Throw in held up by Sheridan. Now Katie Ward on the right. Nobody really in the box. Just Hayes waiting. As Sheridan now in position if Trinity can fire across in here. Correa bodying up with Katie Ward, and Katie Ward the stronger of the two, but she runs out of room. And with the goal kick, now Pomona Pitzer can make the change. Hasama comes in at right back for Spencer Dutz. Beal gets a foot on the ball from the goal kick. Zingelman again lofts it into midfield. Walsh lays it off, looking for Cameron Beal, who helps it on now for Everts. Correa's clearance stays in bounds, and that means Mandel can get her head up. Pass was deflected on its way to Koo. It was crowded out by Beal and Hendricks. Two workhorses in the engine room for Coach Harrison, both in their senior season. Had a large majority of the minutes over all 4 years, forging that partnership. There'll be big question marks about who's going to step up in midfield next year. Nobody else really having any consistent starting experience, but all that matters right now is how far they can ride out this senior season. As it stands, they're making it to the third round, the Sweet 16, but still 60 minutes ahead of us for Pomona Pitzer to change that. Sama got ahead to it. The whistle goes against Shea Reifert. Coach Harrison sticking with his starting 11 for the most part. Emily Hayes, the only sub that's out there. On the other side, Pomona Pitzer rotating quite a few players, mostly through injuries. As Mandel's gone on the overlap here. Good ball rolled inside for Koo. Now Ponzio looking to turn. Able to find Rabinowitz down the right. The low cross blocked behind for a corner. Isla Birch now into the game for Ponzio. Looks like this one's going to be a throw deep in Trinity territory rather than a corner. Hayes putting the pressure now on Hasama. Tries to lay it back for Rabinowitz, but Hendricks is there. Now Trinity have a throw from the same spot. Down the line for Walsh, who's able to turn. Gray up to win it above Sheridan. Mendel lays it back now for Summer Hasama. Correa forward for Q. Ball off her left foot, looking for Isla Birch. Bounces into the ever-growing Trinity crowd. Throw in down the line, controlled by Ward. Correa forces her out of play. Senior defender now gets us back going with the throw. Hendricks with a strong intervention in midfield. Walsh can't work it forward for Ward. Everett's helps it down the line, and Katie Ward able to keep it in play. Twinkle toes along the sideline as it's sent in, looking for Sheridan. He's going to chase it all the way across to this near side. Shouts for a foul. The referee waves it away as Hayes came away with the ball. And Trinity can retain possession here. Meyer on the dribble forward. Hayes wanted to return it to her. Not on the same page that time. Veneziano out to Rabinowitz. Two captains for Pomona Pitzers. Hendricks called for a foul. No complaints from her. She just sprints back into a defensive shape. And the Sage Hens go short from the free kick. Sama forward for Koo, can't keep it. Katie Ward turns past Correa with ease. And now there's green grass ahead of her. And she'll take it. A big touch invites the pressure from Hasama. And Katie Ward maybe looking a little tired there as Trinity make 3 changes. She'll stay out there. Bowers, Ferruzzi, and Mikulski in for the Tigers as Hendricks, Walsh, and Everts are withdrawn. Wallace with the throw down the line. Bowers runs with it as Correa comes across to get a foot on the ball and win the throw. Birch lifts it down the line. Mandel challenging for it. As this one looks like it's going to stay in play. From the Sage Hens traveling support. Here's Isla Birch popping up centrally. Hasama loose in possession there, but Rabinowitz has got it back. Good work from Rabinowitz as Gray now just launches it forward. Header won by Wallace. Ferruzzi putting the pressure on. Veneziano skips past the Trinity midfield. Meyer leans on her just to bring it into that attack. Good moment of quality that time from Taylor Veneziano. As Ferruzzi just on the field is slow to get up. And this one may be in shooting range for Correa, although she'll have options to aim at. 5 teammates gathered on the edge of the penalty area. Correa looking for a signal from the bench on how to execute this free kick. We saw the Trinity wall split on the last similarly placed free kick. This one sent in, looking for a teammate. And Ward helps it clear. Handball against the Sage Hens. Chance wasted. Zingelman forced back here. It's been interesting to see the back and forth changing between her and Bailey Meyer as to who's in the middle, who's on the left. Seems to be based on just the run of play and the flow as they switch back. Correa robbing Ward of possession. And now forward for Birch. As I mentioned, Meyer back centrally sweeping up there. Mikulski, her first involvement to win a throw on the far side, just 5 yards into the Trinity half. Sachins prepare one more change. Bowers putting the pressure on here as Correa sends it down the line. Last touch was off Isla Birch. Wallace throw immediately sent back by Isla Birch. Meyer here backpedaling just to get the necessary space to control it. And her clearance runs out of play. And Kelsey Shintaku now enters the field for Rabinowitz on the right wing. Trinity ready, 2 strikers for the final 5 minutes of the half. As Alzimi and Michaela Bosco get their final instructions. Katie Ward's right on hand as the Sachins pass it straight out of play. She's set to be replaced, probably at the next restart. Takes the throw here, looking for Hayes. Gray comes across. Her clearance, though, arrives right at the feet of Cassie Bowers. And the Sachins now have a throw with 5 minutes remaining in the half. These two teams currently split by another Katie Ward wonder goal. Mandel with the ball wide for Correa. A lot of room for her coming into the attack as it's wide now for Birch. Return to Correa, who's crowded out. And Trinity drop it off for Bolish, who sends it clear. McAllister's now joined the substitutes, ready to come in for Trinity, presumably for Beal. Coach Harrison wants to extend the halftime break for some of his key players. Sachins have other ideas, looking to make it count before the break. Go into halftime, back level. All out of play now for a Tiger throw. And those 3 changes are made. Sheridan, Ward, and Beal withdrawn. An extra 4 minutes of rest on top of the 15 minutes that will pause between halves for 3 of the crucial players for Trinity. The back line continuing to play every minute as Wallace puts this one out for a throw. Bowers forward for Ozimi. Bosco's making the run, and she's got the speed to get on the end of this through ball. Forced a little bit wide, and Ozimi's working to get into the box now. It's fired across and turned aside by the goalkeeper with Ozimi just a few yards away. Good work from the substitutes, bringing the energy right away. And now for Bosco. Can't connect with Hayes. It's down the field for Koo. Shintaku can't keep it as Hayes was tracking back well. This one, though, deflects into the path of Koo. Wallace coming across to try and put a stop to it, but it takes Bolish making the save to preserve the Trinity lead. Bolish punt allowed to bounce inside the center circle. As McAllister controls it and draws the foul. Here's the effort from Amanda Q. Right at Bolish. Here's Mikulski on the charge inside. Fires it forward for Bosco. Sharp first touch, and now she turns away from the pressure. Mikulski providing the width, has targets to aim at as she fires it in. Ozemi looking for it. Hayes at the back post. Ferruzzi, 25 yards from goal, under 2 minutes on the clock. McAllister's gonna have a go. It rattles the crossbar. Hayes there on the follow-up. And the Sage Hens smuggle it clear. What a strike from Meredith McAllister. The first year off the bench nearly providing that pop for goal number 2. The crossbar coming to the rescue for Pomona Pitzer. As Trinity's bench bringing the energy in a big way. Veneziano wide here for Hasama. Ferruzzi onto it in midfield. Hayes wants to get it back to her. Here is Ferruzzi wide, just runs under her foot. And free kick here against Koo as we get a look at the shot off the crossbar from way out. And just inches away from sneaking beyond Naomi Maurice. Bowers onto it, looking to put this one in behind for Bosco. Some more tireless running for Trinity's first year forward. Under 30 seconds to go as Gray sends it down the line for Zingelman. Trinity looking to make every second count here in the first half and try and find goal number 2. But Wallace put under pressure. And there's 3 in attacking areas for the Sage Hens. And as that one runs out of play, that'll do it. The long-range strike continuing to be the method of scoring this weekend. Katie Ward once again the difference as her strike off the crossbar and down has us at 1-0, and there's the effort from McAllister that nearly doubled the lead. Again, Maurice left helpless. And 15 minutes on the clock. We'll take a quick break and come right back. You're watching NCAA round of 32 action between the Trinity University Tigers and the Pomona Pitzer Sage Hens. Welcome back to Paul McGinley Field, where just like yesterday, a spectacular goal separates the sides. Just like yesterday for Trinity, it's Katie Ward who's got it. As Pomona Pitzer are going to look to come from behind here in the second 45. Trinity already taking the field. Final motivation from the Sagehens as they now break their huddle, and notably, Naomi Maurice keeping her place in goal. Not because she played particularly poorly in the first half, but the Sagehens have been rotating goalkeepers 45 and 45 all season, but Taylor Kane left on the bench, it looks like, for the entirety of today's game. Maurice with plenty to do on shots from distance for Trinity. Had to pick it up out of the back of the net, even with a fingertip on it, as Katie Ward fired Trinity in front. McAllister nearly doubling the lead 2 minutes from time. And it looks like an unchanged starting 11 for Trinity. A rotated group for Pomona Pitzer to start the half, as both coaches opt for different strategies, managing tired legs after a game less than 24 hours ago. Hendricks caught in possession. Zingelman steps up out of the back, fires this one forward for Sheridan on the turn, looking to beat this one to the end line. She keeps it in, rolled across for Katie Ward. The hard work and good effort from Molly Sheridan nearly paying dividends there. As Maurice rolls it out for Veneziano, the Sagehens can't keep it, and it's back with Bailey Meyer for Trinity. SCAC Defensive Player of the Year. Goes to her right for Reese Wallace. This one lifted in behind, and bounces before Maurice plucks it out of the sky. Notably, the Sagehens without the SCIAC Offensive Player of the Year, Emily Toms, who's missed the back half of the season with injury, hasn't played since October 20th. And she's a big miss. But it's another senior leader, Rabinowitz, leading the charge right now down the right. She cuts inside, fires the left-footed shot, but again, right at Bolish. Now made 4 saves and really hasn't had the step left or right for any of them. Ward flicks this one on, and it's behind Pham. We'll track it down, laying it back for Maurice. Good to see Caitlin Pham back out there from the start after she was withdrawn with an injury in the first half. Has the right leg all wrapped up. Season on the line, can't leave anything in reserve. Here's a look at the effort from Rabinowitz, cutting inside Meyer. See, she's also got a full leg wrap on her left leg. Didn't get much power or direction behind the shot that time. Beal gets it wide for Stafford. Stafford, the strong foot in, and that breaks now for Alex Walsh. Alex Walsh on the charge. Inside for Sheridan, who's dispossessed. Veneziano, Sagehens chased back here, and they'll put it out of play for a Trinity throw. Walsh, head on a swivel, has the ball down the line now for Everts, battling with Hasama. Last touch is off the Sagehens sophomore. And Stafford comes across now to take the corner. Trinity with double the shots compared to the Sagehens in the first half. This is their first corner. Conversation here about some jostling inside the box. Sheridan marking the goalkeeper. Trinity make their runs from the edge of the box. Pomona Pitzer defending zonally, and Beal gets ahead to it. Now breaks for Katie Ward. Sent high into the sky, and that one will run out, believe, for a goal kick. Yes, it will. Both teams defending corners zonally, allowing their opposition to make a run at the ball with just one corner apiece. We haven't seen much development on that front. Beal wins a big header from the goal kick. And Walsh is onto it now. Stafford dispossessed. And Rabinowitz calling for it on the far side. Let the pass overhit. Looking for Dutz. Conversation here with Veneziano, Walsh, and the referee. Not sure what the content of that one was, but we're back underway now. No yellow card either way. Good footwork from Prosnitz. And the space opens up in front of the Trinity back line. Closed down now by Zingelman as it's poked through, looking for Ponzio. And Katie Ward all the way back, doing the defensive work. Sees this one over the line. Real commitment to the team for the leading goal scorer to be back there in the right back position. She came in as a right back, and Coach Harrison's talked to me about that. Sort of the development arc for Katie Ward. He didn't even expect this level of goal scoring talent when she first came in from Phoenix, Arizona. Moved into a right midfielder, a right winger, and then a striker over the past 2 seasons with some of the most prolific numbers in the country. Sheridan tussling there with Hasama and wins the free kick. Everett goes quickly back to Wallace. And here's Zingelman, brings it into the Seychen's half. Fires the ball forward. Easily cleared away. And now Wallace leathers this one into the box, and Katie Ward's interested. Maurice diving down to her right, picks it up. Looks like the Trinity back 5, a back 3, shifting into a back 4, just depending on which side the ball's on, as they've got a lead to protect. The 2 outside midfielders playing a little more conservative with their positioning. As Beal wins a header in midfield, Walsh helps it on towards Sheridan. Pham fighting through the contact to get to the ball. She's got the free kick. Pham's cross-field ball intercepted by Stafford. Down the line now for Katie Ward. Dutz tracking back as the runs are made into the penalty area. Katie Ward cutting inside. Fires the low ball in, looking for the run of Walsh. Out now for a throw with Ashlyn Zingelman on the far side. Walsh dispossessed by Veneziano. And this time it'll be a Seychen's throw. Rabinowitz. Prosnitz makes the run beyond her. She cuts back now onto the left foot. Here is Prosnitz. Tries to return it to Dutz. Runs out of room. And it's behind for a goal kick. Zingelman's forward ball sent back to Bailey Meyer. Everett's put under pressure, 2 defenders on her back. Wallace able to find the ball forward for Beal. Beal was left on the ground. Referee not going to bring it back for a foul. We'll start instead with a Trinity throw. Seychen's throw. Evelyn Hasama looking for options. Hendricks now back to Bailey Meyer, quickly out of her feet. And Zingelman finds the ball into midfield for Beal on the turn. Well-weighted pass wide for Everts. 3, now 4 inside the penalty area as Everts turns past the defender. Walsh fires the low ball in, and this one sent high into the sky. Walsh making life difficult for Maurice. And the referee saying illegally as the whistle goes for a free kick. Coach Harrison growing increasingly frustrated with some of the recent refereeing decisions. As Wallace battling just in front of me to win it back. Good defensive work from the sophomore. This one spread wide for Rabinowitz. Zingelman across, goes to ground. He's able to put it out of play. Not a ton in that for the free kick that went against Ward. Trinity doing their damage this weekend from outside of the box anyway. Haven't seen a goal from inside the box this weekend. All 3 coming from long range. Q putting Meyer under pressure. Hendricks loses out in the challenge, that time to Prosnitz. Beal fighting for it now. 2 defenders around her in the center circle, and Walsh emerges with the ball. Sheridan looking to turn. Got Hassama on her hip, and Hassama pokes this one out for a throw. Wallace forward. Now wide for Everts. Gets the ball towards the top of the box, cut back. Wallace able to track that one down. Nope, runs out of play. She'll pick it up now for a throw. Pomona Pitzer bench all standing up, blocking my view. Nobody challenging right away from Trinity as Hassama brings it in. Katie Ward dispossessed. Veneziano now finds space for Q. And the shot from Ponzio blocked and cleared away by Zingelman. Good work in midfield that time for the Sagehens. Create the space for their forward players. As Evelyn Hassama now replaced by Correa, who you think will probably go the rest of the way. Senior fighting to extend her career, and she's been excellent this season. Bolish with a late shout, and Meyer will leave it for the goalkeeper. The 4-2-3-1 shape for Pomona Pitzer. Clearly evident right there as they waited for Bolish drop kick. Trinity opting to go to a 3-5-2 this season to partner up Ward and Sheridan. They traditionally favored a similar 4-2-3-1 shape under Coach Harrison. And the addition of Zingelman and the emergence of Reese Wallace made that back 3 a lot more viable, especially as Trinity were working to replace Kristen Canepa at the heart of their back line. Pham with a physical challenge there against Beal. Her ball out of play on the far side where the Sagehens fans have gathered under the tree. Ward holds off the defender. He'll lays this one back to Meyer. This game getting increasingly physical as it wears on. Turning into a bit of a scrap for a place in the Sweet 16. Ncaa dispossessed by Meyer. Hendricks forward for Katie Ward. Wants some options. Stafford provides the width. Stafford, neat feet to get past the defender, fires the ball across. Pham got an important touch to it. Walsh helps this one on towards goal. But Maurice was well positioned. Hendricks unchallenged, wins the header from the punt. This one will go all the way through as Maurice picks it up. Here's the effort from Walsh just to help this one on. Didn't get enough power behind it. Both teams with one change ready and waiting. Correa launches this one in behind. Wallace able to rise high enough to stop it. Reifert out wide for Rabinowitz, who's beaten to it. And those changes now into the game. Hannah Mandel and Issa Mikulski re-enter. We'll restart play with the Sagehins throw from the far side. As the shade starts to creep onto the field in the corner. Dutz dispossessed by Hendricks. Comes away with it, and Katie Ward's got all kinds of space ahead of her. Closed down by Veneziano. Sheridan waiting up top. Here is Molly Sheridan. Spreads the play now for Mikulski. Mikulski cuts inside of her defender and now rolls this one into the box, looking for Sheridan. Not a bad idea. Mikulski now back into a defensive position. She was in all SCAC freshman team selection. Reifert turns on the ball in midfield. Correa helps it on towards Poncio. Poncio's pass intercepted, and she's set to be replaced at the next opportunity. Singleman in for Ward. Absorbed the contact from behind and gave up possession, and she's working, fighting to get it back here. Rabinowitz now double teamed on the far side, and her cross deflected, and Bolish able to come out and pick it up. Some of the defensive work from Katie Ward today has been just as impressive as her goal-scoring exploits. When you've got 30 goal contributions in a season, it'd be understandable just to stand up top and wait for the service. She's done the exact opposite of that, doing the running all over the field. Beal wins the header ahead for Sheridan. Defender on her back again. Now Correa across to try and help. Sheridan battling now with two defenders right on her back. And she runs out of room. Be a Sagehins throw. Summer Asama into the game for Pham. Genevieve Gray, the one consistent member of the back four. Everybody else getting spells on the bench. The senior out of Los Lunas, New Mexico. Starting for the 44th time in Sagehins colors today. Looks like she's set to go the distance. Mandel dumped to the turf there, and Trinity come away with the ball. Rabinowitz wide for Dutz. Give and go, and now Spencer Dutz brings it forward on the right. Here's Mendel on the turn. Correa calling for it. Here she is, the number 9. Wide for Poncio. Poncio cuts inside, can't return it to Correa, and Walsh is onto it. Here's Alex Walsh, Katie Ward making the run. Not spotted. As Trinity goes safe. And Walsh back to Meyer. Polish called out a goal here with the loose ball. Able to easily pass by Rabinowitz. And there's acres of space for Zingelman, who fires it in. Well controlled by Katie Ward. Walsh lifts it into the box. Sheridan looking to turn. A big coming together, and Sheridan's got a chance at the empty net. Both teams wanting a foul on the play. And the referee ultimately swallows the whistle as Sheridan fully committed to this challenge, even with the goalie coming out and landing on top of her. And you got to say, if it's any other player on the field besides the goalkeeper, it's a foul. The rules tend to be applied differently. They can use their hands after all. Testament to the strength of Molly Sheridan to stay up with the goalie draped on her shoulders. I would imagine she was still disoriented when the ball fell to her. The net agape. And now Pomona Pitzer looking to make Trinity pay at the other end. Rabinowitz down the line. Strong tackle from Zingelman, and last touch was off the Sajins. Great defending for Zingelman, the UNT transfer. Wallace readies the goal kick. Not a lot of purchase on it, but it's well placed for Stafford. Turns past their defender and puts this one in behind for Katie Ward to chase, and chase she will. Well spotted by the referee. She can't keep it in play. Well spotted by our camera as well. Katie Ward slow to get up, walking back on the far side. This one down the line. Prosnitz controls it. Hendricks ahead for Gray. Out wide for Rabinowitz. Back to Reifert. He's playing in place of Charlotte Tapp. Started this game, but picked up what looked like an ankle injury in the first half. Here's Reifert into the channel. Well weighted for Rabinowitz. Plenty to aim at in the box as this one's fired across. And Beal looking to shield it away. And the whistle goes for a handball against Pomona Pitzer. Trinity interested in going quickly as it's ahead for Mikulski. Two defenders come to meet her as it's helped down the line for Sheridan. Laid back to Mikulski, and now Bowers is in the game for Walsh. Beal leaves that one short of Stafford, and Dutz making the run now with only Mandel for support. Pass looking for Mandel, took her eye off of it. And now it'll be Kelsey Shintaku and Amanda Q. Trinity will respond with 3 changes of their own. McAllister struck the bar late in the first half, back into the game. Bosco on as well as Teddy Del Preti, who makes her NCAA tournament debut. Sheridan, Ward, and Hendricks, you imagine, off for just a brief rest. Katie Ward, though, still not moving comfortably, favoring one side. She comes to the bench. This cross sent high into the sky. work to do for Bolish, who gets a hand to it, climbing over Mikulski in doing so. Correa, well marked by Del Preti, and now Bosco alone up front. Can't get past Summer Hasama. Del Preti's putting the pressure now on Gray. Sprays it wide for Dutz. Dutz, some more good work. She skips past Bowers. Veneziano forward. Koo returns it to Dutz. A loose pass, and now the two young Trinity strikers look to lead the break. Del Preti wide for Mikulski. Bosco furthest forward in white and maroon. Del Preti's got space. Now immediately closed down by Veneziano. Trinity sophomore does well just to keep possession. And a good turn of pace on the far side as she gets to the end line, swinging the cross in. Bounces before reaching Naomi Maurice. This game getting increasingly stretched. Trinity won't appreciate that as the team in the lead. And Madison Horner going to come off the bench now, perhaps just to provide some experience. She'll go on to the left for Kira Stafford. Horner into the game for the first time. Stafford goes a little bit longer than she did in the first half. Ball immediately fired into the feet of Horner. Laid back for Zingelman. Clears lines for Trinity. Mikulski with an important intervention as Correa tried to get it wide for Birch. Beal, another header one in midfield. Birch down the line looking for Koo. Meyer puts it out of play. Koo back for Sienna Correa, who finds space in midfield for Veneziano. This one lifted towards goal, but nobody on the end of it. In blue and white. Dutz wins the header from the punt. Beal comes flying through, and a little bit late commits the foul. Sachens goes short. Space in front of Spencer Dutz. Koo tries to lay it wide for Shintaku. Tigers regain possession. Horner can't turn past Dutz. And it's kept in play by Shintaku on the far side. Ball off her left foot is cleared away by Reese Wallace. And now Bailey Meyer sending it into touch. Yesterday, Trinity opting to switch formation, withdraw one of the strikers and set up defensively to see out the game. We'll see at what point they opt to do the same today. That one yesterday, that change, coming with about 10 minutes to go. The Sachens controlling the ball without being too goal dangerous at this point. Although, as we've seen this weekend, all he needs a yard of space within 25 yards of goal, and you can turn goal dangerous quickly. McAllister showed us that in the first half. She got a foot on the ball there. Still the Sachens make their way down the right. Throw in for Spencer Dutz. Zingelman, the clearance. Bosco putting the pressure on. Forces the mistake. It'll be a throw for the home side. This was the final score, the only time these two teams have played each other. Back in 2015, Trinity winning that one with a Hannah Hommel goal. Nobody on the field, of course, today involved in that one, and Coach Harrison is still a season away from taking the helm on the Trinity side. Defending to do on the Trinity side as the Sage-Hens ready the free kick. Just one back as Correa now joins her teammates camped out on the edge of the penalty area. This one's sent in, and Beal up to win it. McAllister can't send it further clear. Beal wins another header. Mikulski pokes it wide, but only as far as Dutz. In for Birch. Spencer Dutz now forward down the left. Reese Wallace, the big tackle, wins it and puts it out of play. Under 15 to go now. Q lays this one to Correa. We'll have a go from distance. And it's the weekend of the long shot. Sienna Correa levels this one at one apiece from the best part of 23 yards. Left back only by position. Every attacking intention for the number 9 for Pomona Pitzer. And she made her way into the attack, as she did on the goal yesterday when she got the assist. This time, though, it's her name on the score sheet. And what a time to get the all-important goal. Back level now, and Coach Harrison may turn back to Katie Ward and Co. off the bench shortly. As Trinity look a bit stunned here, having controlled most of the game. Here's Mikulski. Bosco wants it. There's space now for Bowers. Might have a go herself. And why not? 3 shots in this game. Tell the story. All of them from outside the box. 1 goal apiece. And McAllister off the crossbar. It's McAllister's ball in towards the edge of the area here. Cleared away. For Correa, that's her 7th goal this season. Only had 2 coming into the year. She's got the green light to come forward into the attack anytime for Coach Jen Scanlon. We'll see if Trinity can now fashion a response. 3 players in the wall as Meyer lines this one up. Only Wallace has stayed at home. Everybody else looking to get ahead on this from Bailey Meyer. Sent in, bouncing around, and the follow-up shot blocked, eventually cleared by the Sage-Hens. Great service from Trinity's defensive leader, Bailey Meyer. Nobody could turn it goalward. Here's McAllister. Can't control it as it bounces past her. And out of play right at the halfway line for Wallace to take the throw. Flicks off the head of Birch. Shouts for a handball. Goes against Cassie Bowers. Well, the 2 stars have lived up to the billing, one on either side, Katie Ward and Sienna Correa. Each with a spectacular goal. And with 12 minutes to go, we'll see who has the last say, or perhaps we'll head to overtime. Mikulski, again, able to cut inside, pokes this one forward, looking for Del Preti. Wasn't on the same page. Hendricks now ready to come back into the game alongside Walsh, Ward, and Sheridan, intent in their eyes. They've got a task to do now. Regain the lead here. Looks like they'll get about 10 minutes to do it. This one put in behind for Birch, offside. As the space opened up for Isla Birch. Assistant coach for Pomona Pitzer, Isa Berardo, up off the bench, encouraging the team. Only a couple of years ago, she was out there as one of the leaders. First team All-American goalkeeper on the run to the Final Four. Wallace with an uncharacteristic giveaway and the second chance she puts up towards our cameraman. Looks like we're good to continue. It's three Trinity seniors and Molly Sheridan going to retake their place on the field now. One goal. And that's to find the winning goal here. 10 minutes to do it. 10 minutes to extend their collegiate career one more weekend. Mikulski in for Walsh, who's played some of her best soccer of the season this weekend. See if maybe she can come up with the goal contribution. 7 assists on the year. Bolish composed on the ball, rolls it wide for Meyer. Down the line for Mikulski. Put under pressure now by Correa. Correa overzealous there, commits the foul. Wallace, eager to get the ball back rolling. Slides it across for Zingelman. Push the team forward from the back here, but her pass is intercepted. And there's runners now for the Sachins. Hendricks across to put it into the attack, and she was a bit late. No yellow card, but the whistle goes against Trinity. Sachins now prepare 3 changes of their own. Handball called against Pomona Pitzer. Zingelman across now for Wallace. Wide for Mikulski. The Houston native tries to turn past Correa. It's out of play for a throw, in for Alex Walsh. Clearance deflected by Ward, helped on by Veneziano. Zingelman will step up out of the back line here to win it from Shintaku, and she loses her footing. And Shintaku emerges with the ball. Really good run made by Isla Birch. Was she onside? Yes, the flag stays down. Mikulski back with a huge sliding challenge to put it into the attack. Mikulski putting everything on the line there. Every ounce of energy required to get back. As Ponzio, Hisama, and Caitlin Pham are back into the game now. Pham going into midfield. That's where she's listed on the roster, though we've seen her as a center back for the most part this weekend. And Mikulski's last involvement was an all-important one. She's replaced by Emily Hayes. Birch can't turn past Reese Wallace. Another throw for the Hens. Easy call there against Mandel. For a push in the back against Bailey Meyer. Wallace frustrated, looking for options. And she's made the mistake here, presenting it to Q. Rolled across for Mandel. Zingelman cleaning it up. Gets a good foot on the ball. And the clock stopped, I think, for an injury concern rather than a foul. See Mandel clutching that left knee, but she's immediately back up to her feet. Good to see. See how we restart now. I believe with a drop ball for Trinity. Yeah, that challenge from Zingelman. She gets a left foot on the ball, the right leg catching Mandel. Luckily, looks like no serious damage for the junior out of Frisco, Texas. First team All-SCIAC performer this season. And Mandel will make her way across the field here. She's subbed out. And it looks like she'll come right back in as the Sage-Hens momentarily play with 10. As it stands, we're 6.5 minutes away from overtime. Sheridan with eyes on changing that, looking for a teammate, tries to spray it wide for Hayes. Beal, strong challenge, and she comes away with the ball. It breaks for Katie Ward. Dispossessed by Pham. Veneziano again put under pressure by the Trinity midfield, and she's left on the ground as Walsh. Miscue on the pass, and Sheridan offside. Good energy from the two senior midfielders. Grinding in the engine room right now for Trinity. Really balanced midfield three opposing them right now for Pomona Pitzer with Pham, Veneziano, and Mandel. At this point, it's going to come down to desire, who can dig deeper and find the all-important goal. Having played less than 24 hours ago, Meyer comes across and whistle goes for a high kick against the Hens. Statistically, Trinity have controlled this one, 14 shots, 8 on target. Pomona Pitzer putting all 5 of their efforts on target. Sienna Correa with the goal in the 76th minute. Tie this one back up at 1. And then Ciano there ahead of Walsh. Here's Correa. Beal now out to meet the left back. Here's Pham, who waits it out wide for Hassama. Down the line for Ponzio. Haley Meyer there. Puts it out of play for Sage-Hens throw. 4 minutes to go here in regulation. That one flies off the left boot of Reese Wallace. Pomona Pitzer throw. And a big tackle that time, won by Madison Horner. And then Ciano across for Hassama. Space wide now as Mandel swings it in all the way across. And Ncaa prevents the goal kick. Instead, it's a throw for Emily Hayes. First half went Trinity's way. The second half, Pomona Pitzer have offered a real strong response. Really good turn there from Hayes to get past Pham. Down the line now for Sheridan as Correa gets a foot on the ball. And Stafford comes in the game now for Zingelman. He's off the field for the first time this weekend. Walsh again put under pressure by Isla Birch, who's called for the foul. Wallace, you'd imagine, going to try and drive this one in with Hendricks making her way forward. A lot of air underneath it, and it hits right where Hendricks was before she made her run. Nodded out of play by the Sachens. Horner takes the throw down the line for Alex Walsh. Poked back to Horner. Rolled across the box, may still break for Cameron Beal. Takes the long shot, blocked by Mandel. You go the other way. Trinity able to stop the counter, now under 2 to play. Or we'll be headed for a golden goal overtime. Wallace ball forward, overhit, nobody in the vicinity. Maurice pushes her team up the field. Hendricks with a big header one in midfield, helped on by Walsh. Here's Katie Ward, trying to turn. Skips away from 2 defenders. She's headed the wrong way as it's dropped back for Madison Horner. This one leveled in now for Sheridan. Tries to lay it off back to Katie Ward. Trinity asking the questions now with a minute to go. Wallace down the line. Just runs out of play ahead of Emily Hayes. 1 minute call over the PA as there's a slip and Beal's onto it. Can't find the ball across for Ward. It's golden goal time now, before or after the buzzer, as the seconds tick away. Into midfield for Walsh, using every ounce of strength left to hold off the defender there, and lofts it down the line for Katie Ward to chase. Trinity will have the last chance now from the throw. Kira Stafford joins in the attack as the Tigers go short towards Walsh. A giveaway now with 15 seconds to go, and Trinity have to be careful to make it to overtime. Really important block there from Stafford, and that'll do it. 1-1. Spectacular goals either side of halftime, and we are all set for a golden goal extra time period. 5 minutes, and then we'll be back rolling here in San Antonio. You're watching NCAA round of 32 action. Trinity all tied up with Pomona Pitzer, 1-1. Well, this game has lived up precisely to the billing, precisely to the precedent we saw yesterday. Both teams with a spectacular long-range goal. Trinity in the first half from Katie Ward. Sienna Correa, 14 minutes from time in the second half, tied us back up. And now we're set for a sudden victory, overtime period. Season on the line for both teams as the ball's back rolling here. 10 minutes on the clock. One goal will decide this game. Bounce back to Zingelman, who's on the field now after finishing regulation on the bench. Here's Sheridan, pucks it out of the sky, lofts it in behind for Katie Ward. Maurice, the goalkeeper, going to go the distance after splitting time yesterday with first-year Taylor Kane. This one launched forward into the box now, bouncing high, and Alex Walsh is onto it. The left-footed strike, well directed. Not a ton of power behind it, off her weaker side. Throw for Pomona Pitzer on the far side. 16-1-2 record coming into this weekend for Trinity. 15-2-1, very similar. Two teams used to dominating throughout conference play. Involved in a tight affair yesterday against a regional rival. The SCIAC champions and the SCAC champions. Nothing to separate them as it stands. But we have to have a winner. Stafford on the break now, down the left wing. Gray across, sends it miles clear. A throw in for Trinity in an attacking position. Zingelman now up from the back to take it. In for Walsh, who's looking to turn, juggles it past the defender, and then dispossessed. Through 90 minutes, it was 4 saves necessary for Lauren Bolish, 2 for Naomi Maurice. As Trinity fired 14 shots, 8 on target, and the Sagins with 5, all 5 on goal. Walsh on the turn, puts it in behind for Stafford. Doesn't have the speed to keep that one in. Ball right now in an area Trinity will like it, as they've got the Sagins pinned in. Rabinowitz goes back to Gray. 2 seniors work to get it clear. Beal with a neat flick to keep it in play. Stafford sends the low ball in. And now Rabinowitz with just Mandel forward. Runs it out of play on the far side. Fired back in by Walsh. All Trinity here, 3 minutes into overtime. Sheridan able to shield off her defender and win the corner. Trinity now preparing a chance from this corner to find the winning goal. Everts, Beal, Hendricks, all targets. Zingelman as well as they make the runs in. Beal rises highest to meet it. Hendricks turns it goalwards from just 2 or 3 yards away. It's blocked behind for another corner. The Tigers continue to look dangerous from set pieces. There's been bodies in the way for the Sagins, and you see they set up all inside the 6-yard box once again. Will that human barrier be enough as Stafford once again lifts it in. Beal with the flick on and the clearance off the line as Trinity comes so close to a golden goal. I think that was Poncio with the all-important intervention. She's out to close down Wallace now as Walsh lays it wide for Everts. Everts to the inline, drives it across but never found its way back onto the field of play. And we'll try and get a look now at that scramble moments ago. Beal up to win it from the goal kick. And now Maurice comes off her line to come and claim. Pomona Pitzer allowed possession here amongst the back four. Maurice on it. Yet to show any attacking impetus since the start of overtime. We're halfway into the first period. Throw in now in for Reifert. As there is the clearance off the line. Really good positioning for Poncio. She'd been a step to the right or left. Season would have been over for the Sagehens. Meyer forced back for the first time in overtime. She puts it out. Trinity now up to 10 shots on target, double what the visitors have offered up. But at this point, all it takes is one goal to settle the contest. Rolled across. Wallace gets a foot on it. Ward and Venancio in a foot race to it. And it breaks now for Molly Sheridan. Space to turn, and she puts this one out in front of Katie Ward. Does she have enough left in the tank to reach it? No, not this time. War of attrition here as overtime rolls on. Two teams less than 24 hours removed from their first round NCAA games. Bodies being pushed to their limits here. Mendel turns and lifts it up to the left side now for the Hens. Miscue as Correa is making a run forward. Ward's found some space behind her. Sienna Correa back and well placed. Last off Katie Ward and out for Pomona Pitzer throw. Eliana Prostance battling against all the Trinity midfielders. Hendricks left on the ground as Myers stepped up to meet her. Stafford trying to track down Rabinowitz on the far side. Two to her left as she cuts back. Dutz, ton of power on the cross, too much. As we've got 2.5 minutes remaining in the first overtime. It's intense. And the intensity continuing to ratchet up. Coordinated cheers from the Sagehens down to my left. They will their team on here. Correa lifts it in for Mandel. Wallace on her back, got a foot on the ball, and second foot to clear it. And the layoff from Sheridan's inch perfect. Here's Katie Ward. Molly Sheridan making the run into the box now. As Katie Ward isolated against Genevieve Gray. Fired across, and just a foot or so wide to the back post. As Ward looked to go alone. Two seniors there squared up, knowing that on that occasion, Katie Ward had a chance to put an end to the Pomona Pitzer season. One minute to go now as Spencer Dutz brings it into the attack. Beal, the strong sliding tackle, gets a foot on the ball and is back up to win it. The referee takes his time to think about it, eventually whistling for a free kick and a yellow card against Beal. One foot on the ball, the other foot probably a little bit too high for Cameron Beal. And that's why she's gone into the book now. And the Sage Hens will line up a free kick. I would normally say, surely this one's out of shooting range, but this weekend, in terms of long shots, all bets are off. 4 long-distance goals soaring into the back of the net. Will the Sage Hens do it again here? It's driven towards the goal, and Bolish able to claim as that one bounces ahead of her. Bolish drop kick. As Beal this time draws the foul. And Walsh trying to go quickly, but the ball was still rolling. Last chance of the first overtime. As the Tigers hold for last shot. Meyer, plenty of air underneath this one. Ward tries to help it on. And the Sage Hens able to get it clear. Now 100 minutes of action between these two teams and still nothing to separate them. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back. You're watching NCAA Round of 32 action on the Tiger Network. So some celebrations from Trinity fans as the volleyball score goes final. And the Tigers advancing past NYU and into the final 8. Trinity women's soccer here on their home field looking to match that feat and move into the round of 16. Get to that second weekend as they did in 2019. Pomona Pitzer made it another weekend, advancing to the final 4 back in 2019. On the back of Bria Varnbuller, Issa Berardo, Brianna Lau, all All-American selections. They've had to retool. They've had a year off. And they're back here competing against Trinity in San Antonio. Double overtime now awaits as the referee with the final check of his watch. And we are back underway. 10 minutes on the clock. A goal will decide this game, or we'll be headed for penalties. Trinity now moving from right to left in the direction. And they found their 2 goals this weekend. And they find the magic once again. Wallace cut out. Beal has to be careful now on a yellow. Last touch out off Trinity. Pomona Pitzer throw. No, rather, referee brings it back for a foul. Correa, the goal scorer for the Sage Hens, takes it. Beal nods this one on towards Walsh. Back for Cece Hendricks. Zingelman ahead. Can't find a teammate. Both coaches sticking with their first choice 11 pretty much throughout overtime. No real changes as Stafford sends it down the field, loses her footing, but it finds Molly Sheridan. Sheridan just needs some movement ahead of her. Eventually comes to a stop as the support comes from Everett's on the right. Driven in, looking for Katie Ward. Rolled back now for Wallace. Walsh to Everett. Here's Ward. Not allowed to turn. She instead drops it back to Alex Walsh. Here's Hendricks. Ahead for Sheridan, who can't control it. The methodical build-up for Trinity comes to an end with a goal kick for the visiting team. From the goal kick, Cameron Beal up to win the header. Sheridan now with Ward making the run in behind. The pass off the mark. And Gray able to make the interception. Dutz forward for Q. Here's Dutz on the charge. Return to her by Mandel. Beautiful give and go as Mandel's back on it. With the hand raised. She commits the handball violation. Both teams now exchanging blows, body blows, with good build-up. Can either team land the knockout punch? Or will we be destined to be decided by the lottery of penalty kicks? Encouragement from the bench on both sides as these players have been pushed to their limits today. They're going to have played 200 minutes in 2 days by the time this one goes final. Zingelman down the line for Katie Ward. Does she have any magic left in her boots? Steps past one defender. Now going to send this one in, arcing towards the back post. And on target, but easily held by Naomi Maurice. And Ward exhausted, limping away from taking that shot. Forward for Q. Lays it back for Caitlin Pham. Movement down the right side now with Rabinowitz. Stafford's wrong side. Rabinowitz looking to get to the end line. Stafford goes to ground and gets a foot on the ball. Certainly not risk averse there from Kira Stafford. She made the sliding tackle in the box, but it was well timed. And Trinity have a corner kick to defend. Two teams set up. Trinity inside the 6. Pomona Pitzer in a line at the edge of the 18. They make their runs as the ball goes short. Looking for Correa. Trinity saw that one on the film from yesterday. And the set piece cut out easily. Chance wasted for the Sachens. Five minutes to go. Zingelman down the line for Stafford. Tries to help it on, but Dutz picks up the loose ball. Dutz looking still full of energy here in the second overtime. Shay Reifert, who's played an important role since the injury to Charlotte Tapp in the first half. Pomona Pitzer now without two of their first choice midfielders. Emily Toms not playing at all this weekend. Was the offensive player of the year in the conference. And still, they're giving Trinity all they can handle at Paul McGinley Field. Polish goes short from the goal kick. Zingelman forward for Walsh. He's going to have to try and dig this one out. No foul, says the referee. Rabinowitz shielded away from it by Zingelman. Really strong play from Trinity's sophomore defender. Here's Katie Ward, their leading light this season. Waiting for options, now lays it wide for Everts. Good weight on the pass, it's a foot race with Everts and Correa. As Correa flies across the sliding challenge, puts it out for a throw. Three and a half minutes and counting down as Everts looks for options. Finds Molly Sheridan as the shade continues to grow in that corner. Trinity have a corner. They've got a chance here. And they've looked threatening from these set pieces. Usually winning the first ball, but not able to get the shot on frame. See if they can change that here and settle this contest. Stafford swings it in. Beal rises highest and flicks it on. Tracked down by Katie Ward. Sent in off her left foot. And a huge save for Maurice. What an effort from Katie Ward off her weaker left foot into the top corner. This time, though, Maurice able to climb high enough to palm this one behind for another corner. Stafford already there waiting to send it in. Launched into the area, flicks off the head of Beal, and Maurice able to grab it. Shouts for a handball. As one of the Sagians has stayed down. 2.5 minutes left to go. And wow, this game has provided a bit of everything and nearly had a spectacular finish there from Katie Ward. From an angle, she had no business scoring the winner of this fantastic game. And Shea Reifert, who's down right now. Reifert takes a big bump there from Beal as Maurice reaches over the top of Walsh to claim it. 2:28 on the clock. We're still searching for a golden goal. As the two teams take a quick break, we'll do it with them on the Tiger Network. Reifert makes her way off the field here now, replaced by Veneziano. Veneziano scoring the winning goal yesterday for Pomona Pitzer. Got 2 minutes and 28 seconds left, otherwise will be decided by penalty kicks. Trinity soccer fans know how cruel that can be as an end to your season, as the men's team fell on the road yesterday against Pacific Lutheran, decided by spot kicks. These two teams have been truly even over now 108 minutes. Worthy representatives of the West region going forward, but which will it be? We'll find out soon as Zingelman gets ahead to it. Hendricks settles it in midfield. She's been the principal penalty taker for Trinity this season, 2 for 2. Will that skill be called into action? Or will we have an even more dramatic finish? Katie Ward with Stafford going beyond her. Ward on the dribble now, cuts it back for Stafford. Sheridan will make the run into the box as it's fired in low. And goalkeeper and defender collide. But the Sage Hens get it clear. Hendricks with a strong foot on the ball. Rolled across for Katie Ward. She likes this type of range. This time looking to pass. And Stafford can't track it down. It's down the line for Dutz. Played back to Rabinowitz. Is there a sting in the tail now for the Sajins? Mendel ahead for Rabinowitz. The senior giving her all to get to it. Able to keep it in play. Down the line for Q. Turns Bailey Meyer. Now rolled across for Caitlin Pham. Surely not. She takes it on the volley. And here's Sienna Correa. Back from Pham. Sienna Correa, she's done it once. She goes for it again. This time, though, not near as much power in the shot. A wry smile for Coach Scanlon. These two teams have fought tooth and nail over the course of this weekend. They provided us with spectacular moments. But it looks like over 110 minutes, they won't provide us with a winner. Free kick goes against Trinity, and that should do it. It's going to be Bolish and Maurice in goal for the two teams. Trinity taking 3 penalties this season. Hendricks 2 for 2. Zingelman converted her only attempt. Pomona Pitzer just 1 penalty this year. Anna Poncio put it into the back of the net. But that's how we'll decide this game as the NCAA West Regional Final, round of 32. Goes the distance, 1-1. Goals in the first half for Katie Ward, and the second half for Sienna Correa. Kicks from the mark when we return. After 110 minutes of hard-fought action here at Paul McGinley Field, the game goes final 1-1. Two teams fought to a draw. And the winner is going to be decided by kicks from the mark. A cruel roll of the dice. See who can keep their nerve. Last penalty shootout for Pomona Pitzer is in the NCAA sectional final, the Elite 8 round last year, or 2019, sorry. And Taylor Veneziano stepped up to score the first penalty. She's here to try and do the same once again. She'll go first for the Sage Hens. Conversation right now between the goalkeepers and the referee. Bolish and Maurice have dueled it out, and Maurice came up with a spectacular save to force this penalty shootout just about 3 minutes before the end of overtime. The crowd making their way down for a better vantage point as one of these teams' season will come to an end, and the other will move on to the round of 16. A lot of discussion here between the official and the two goalkeepers. The first 10 takers have made their way out onto the field. They're currently positioned at the halfway line. Veneziano being made to wait a long time. And she's now handed the ball. All the responsibility is on her shoulders to start off this shootout on the right foot for the Sage Hens. Lauren Bolish slaps the crossbar. Looking to play spoiler as Veneziano takes 2 steps to her left. And slides it into the bottom left. Bolish close to it. They couldn't get down in time. And the Sage Hens strike first. And now Zingelman steps up. Dispatched her only penalty in a Trinity uniform at the start of this season. Trinity involved now in an NCAA tournament shootout for the first time since 2015. Zingelman to respond, and it's saved. Maurice diving to her right. Holds Trinity off the board here. It's 1-0 after the first round of shots. Really comfortable height for the goalkeeper. And Zingelman will hope that her teammates can come to her aid now. Summer Hasama is next up for the Sage Hens. Bolish needs to come up with a save to match Maurice. Here's Hasama, and she misses the goal entirely. Hands on her head. She's let the team down. Didn't force a save out of Bolish, who was going the right way. Didn't have to do anything, and now it's Trinity's go-to penalty taker this season, Cece Hendricks, to step up. 2 for 2 on the year. But more pressure on now than ever. As Maurice stares her down, the whistle sounds. Cece Hendricks steps up and makes no mistake. Trinity back level. Early deficit erased. Perfect penalty for the senior from South Carolina. Sienna Correa, Defensive Player of the Year for the Skyac. Spectacular performer this weekend. Goal and an assist on the 2 goals for the Sage Hens. Has to keep her nerve here. As she adjusts the shin guards, takes a deep breath. It's going to be a short run up, just 1 step. And she's missed the goal as well. Bolish was sent scampering that direction But once again, nothing to do as Correa dragged it wide. Cassie Bowers next up. Haven't seen her through overtime. She was a second team all-conference selection this year. Straight on run up, 5 steps back. Can she give Trinity the lead? Yes, as it rolls in. Maurice went the wrong way, couldn't recover in time. And the shot well placed into the bottom corner. Advantage to the home team. Spencer Dutz next up. The first-year defender's been spectacular today, full of energy. This now is the biggest moment of her Sage-Hin career. Two to one through 3 rounds, and now Dutz steps up. And Bolish got a hand to it, but it wasn't enough as she diverts it into the bottom corner. Pomona Pitzer stay alive. And the pressure is on Molly Sheridan to restore the Trinity advantage. She's formed a historic partnership with Katie Ward this year. But it's all on her now. 1-against-1 with Maurice as she steps up and scores it. Restoring the Trinity lead. And Genevieve Gray has to make this one, or the Tigers will move on. And again, Maurice guessing wrong. Genevieve Gray has to score. Bolish has got a hand on 2 of the penalties. The other 2 have rolled wide. Can she come up with the all-important stop? Here's Gray, and this one's in the bottom corner. One shot to win it now for Trinity. And it's Maya Ozemi, first-year forward. Played limited minutes this weekend, and she's the one to step up in the crucial moment now for the Tigers. First year out of Dallas, Texas, has it all to do. Naomi Maurice has to come to her team's aid here as she waits for the kick from Maya Ozemi, and Trinity have won it. They move on to the Sweet 16. Pomona Pitzer downed in penalties. A terrific effort from both sides, over 110 minutes, but Trinity will represent the West region. Moving on to the final 16 of this year's NCAA tournament. And it was first-year Maya Ozemi to step up and get the job done. Nothing Maurice could do about that one, even as she guessed the right way. And the celebrations ensued. What a terrific contest today, and our hearts go out to Pomona Pitzer. Such a difficult way to lose a game to end a season. They were the best team that Trinity faced so far, and they pushed them to their very limit, getting a draw through regulation, a draw in overtime, and they come up just one short in the shootout. Go and track down the 2 head coaches when possible for the post-game interviews. But I think one side engaged in some commiserations, the other one in celebrations. So stick around for that. My name is Ryan Figured. It's been a pleasure this weekend to describe the action as the Trinity Tigers advance on home soil 4-3 on penalties against the Pomona Pitzer Sage-Hins. We'll be right back with the interviews in just a moment.
and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Presenting the Ncaa participation medallions. Let's have a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen and team members, let's have a big round of applause for an outstanding season for the Pomona pitcher, Ncaa. Medallions presented by Charles Noble, to Helena Rabinowitz and Emily Toms, and the coach, Jim Scanlon. Pomona pitcher, Ncaa's outstanding season. Congratulations. Advancing to the third round, led by head coach Dylan Harrison, the Trinity University Tigers. Congratulations.
Ryan Figured here with Trinity head coach Dylan Harrison. Coach Harrison, you faced off against a terrific opponent today, and they pushed you all the way to your limit, 1-1, all the way through overtime, regulation. You know, what can you say about them and the season that they've put together?
I mean, they're anybody that watched the game, you know exactly why the last time we had a full NCAA tournament, they're in the Final Four. I mean, they're exactly the type of team that we try to be, and we are a lot of times. And I mean, just hats off, well coached, well played. What a game!
Yeah, and what a weekend. The goals this weekend coming from long range in all three games. You know, what was in the air this weekend?
I mean, that's how tight it was. I mean, when you have defenses that just stay that focused and that intense and do all the work that's asked of them, it's going to have to come from a moment of magic. And I mean, we saw it all weekend. You're right on.
And it was Maya Azemi to step up and take the crucial penalty, a first-year forward. You know, how much faith did you show in her by putting her into the number 5 spot?
I mean, I think if you would ask any player on our team whether or not Maya deserved it, they would have said yes. I mean, it went as scary to say. I told my mom and dad last night that she was going to take one.
Well, you called it, and congratulations, Coach. Moving on to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ryan Figured here with Pomona head coach, Jen Scanlon. Jen, obviously a really hard-fought game today, 1-1 final, and you were pushed all the way. What can you say about the resilience from your team coming back from that 1-goal deficit and fighting your way back into it?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely regrouped at halftime and showed that, you know, we weren't done yet with our season, and we showed a ton of heart and pride and just resiliency, and especially some people stepping up into roles and situations, you know, with injuries and other things going on, that people were put into situations where, you know, we needed them, and they played, you know, career games for us in this situation, in this, you know, postseason, and stepping into roles that they'd not been in all season long, and played unbelievable for us. So just super, super proud of you know, the fight that we showed in the second half, and you know, really putting everything out there and you know, making a game of it against Trinity.
And talk about some of the seniors that have led your program to the Final Four a couple of years ago, and now this year to the round of 32, and what they've meant to the Sachins.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words for sure. You've got 3 players, Anna Ponzio, Sienna Correa, and Hella Rabinowitz, who just really define and epitomize what's key to our team's success, right? Just hard work, love for the game, love for their teammates in this program, and have built, culture, especially this year when we had just a new group and lots of time off, not being together for 18 months, literally not seeing each other and playing soccer together for 18 months, to come back and rebuild this program and the culture and reset it. They were amazing leaders for us.
And we know you'll be back. Congratulations on a great season, and have a safe trip home. Thank you.